Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Not sure if the Instagram stuff will transfer over, so we'll have to see how that goes. Yeah, I think we're kind of in the polishing phase of this. It's been dark. All right, good. Turn this to go live. Perfect. And I just need to get my paints out. So, starting with my high flow medium, which I love. And some white. Get this up a little bit. Spread out too much. And yeah. So I'm excited, yeah, start bringing this to a close. I think all the pieces are there. It's a matter of adjusting tonality, cleaning up edges, and bringing it to a close. So I can start working on something new soon. Not sure if we'll finish it exactly today, but should get pretty close. I think. Hopefully, maybe tomorrow has a finish. I'm kind of going to go through and identify all the spots that I need to clean up on here. All right, green. Not yellow. That on there. All right, everybody's loaded up and ready to roll. I'm excited to see what we do today. Service is active. All right, good. All right. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Saturday. So today we are going to work on cleaning up some stuff. So I think I need to bring that over a little bit more, just to sticking out to me. Water. Yeah, but I think we're coming close to finishing this one. We got a lot done yesterday in terms of cleaning up stuff, and now today's like kind of bringing it all together. And I need to bring together, hopefully over the next day, next two, this morning, tomorrow, bring it to a close, and have that move on to the other thing. So move past this exercise into something else. I wanted to bring that sort of down. Just so we can see more of this. I think it Good morning. Let's see, a little division in here. Good morning, good morning. Happy Saturday. Let's see. There we go, nice little separation there. Sound? Sound is on, I think. Can you hear me? Maybe your sound is off. Um, okay, yeah. I don't always say things at all times, so yeah. If there's a question, please let me know. Not always sure, how many people are in here and what they're curious about. So, but this piece I've just been working on the last, couple of weeks or whatever, and I think we're kind of getting close to the end finally. So. This is the final of this series I was planning on doing, where I wanted to do kind of mixed reference pieces that are small. Actually, these are supposed to stay in my sketchbook originally. This is actually just a sketchbook page. Um, but yeah. I'm kind of in the final phase where I just want to sit down and get all of like the final details and tonality kind of locked in. Like these guys are just a little too dark, and so I'm going to do a bit of a scumble over their darker areas. Uh, so that's what we got going on here today. Is I'm trying to bring this up. I've been doing this whole thing, these illustrations 100% on live stream. So you can go back and watch all the way back to the beginning. I did take a week off after starting this one due to a fun little bout of the COVID. So I was really out of it for like a whole week, really sick. So I'm gonna lighten this up a little bit more. That's probably a better color. So yeah, that's what we're doing today. We're kind of trying to bring this to a close. Yeah, it's better tint. Just trying to adjust some of these value relationships. So that's what we got going on today. And you just let me know if there's any questions. Sometimes I get caught up in what I'm doing, and or I don't know. People have already heard kind of what I'm doing in here. What's my favorite artist in music and art? So I don't have like a favorite. A lot of things I've been listening to. Like lately, I've been listening to a lot of Charlie Cunningham. Um, yeah, but I don't really do like I don't have a favorite color. I don't have like a favorite food. Um, so um, so yeah, there's a lot of things I look at. Like I've been looking a lot at the sketchy comic artists lately, like Daniel Warren Johnson or Sean Gordon Murphy, uh, James Herron. Been like a lot of people that I've really been paying attention to. What's funny is most of them actually don't produce that much work individually. Like one of them had a series for a while, which I missed. I'll pick it up in trade when it comes out as a library edition. Um, so that's kind of what we look at. And then like painting and that, there's a group of artists who mostly teach at New York Academy whose work I really love, like Stephen Assail and Vincent Desiderio and formerly Nicola Vallata was there. I really like his stuff. But there's a whole group of them there that teach at this one grad school, which is why I went there. Um, so um, those are some people I really like. Are those that kind of group of people? I did find some really cool concept art stuff from an artist named Adrian Lucian today. He mostly does 3D, but he's really good with the marker stuff. Um, So yeah, those are some of my thoughts. I don't know, who are your favorite artists at the moment? So yeah, who are some people you like? Maybe it's people I'm always finding about artists like I don't know about. One of the things I find is like sometimes students they'll be really into an artist and not realize where the artist got their style from. Like I had a student looking at the Witch Hat Atelier art the other day, and she'd never heard of John R. Neal, who was the illustrator for most of the Wizard of Oz books. Um, so um, yeah, so I think it's really important to like get aware of what people's inspiration sources are, because I think you'll discover things in that way that you would not otherwise be aware of. Because we tend to think of like whatever we see, and especially these days where there's such a flood of information out there that you know it's really hard to kind of know where things come from sometimes. Um, it's like I'll see people really like a certain inking style that I'll see from a number of artists like Evan Cagle or Frank Cho or yes, I don't know any of those people. I've heard of My Hero Academia, but I've never looked at it. I just got finished reading Search and Destroy, which is pretty fantastic. I was disappointed to learn that he did it digitally because I just it would have been more interesting if he'd done it traditionally. I could kind of tell it was digital, but I wasn't sure 100%. Because they can really clean things up on the computer. So that was pretty good. I forget the name of the artist, writer, the mangaka. I just saw an interview with him too on Direct Edition. Um, this guy. I know who Eliza Ivanova is. Yeah, Atsushi Kaneko or Kaneko. Atsushi Kaneko. Oh, there's some really nice art in here. Yeah, some pretty brutal stuff too, but really beautifully drawn. I guess he drew it all in Procreate, so it means I need to tell him all about Infinite Painter. Yeah, but I don't know who the Eliza Ivanova is. Um, So yeah, it's also complete. So it's a 3-volume set, Search and Destroy. Apparently, the most recent one was just released, so I just came across it like a few weeks ago. So I ordered the first one and read it. Like, oh, this is really good. So I ordered the next two, and I didn't realize that the third one had just come out. It's a remake. It's like a reimagining of an older manga. Dororo, I think, is what it was called, the original one. But it's kind of a retelling of that, but it's set in like a post-apocalyptic. Well, it's a post-war kind of Soviet Union city, and it's a story about a girl whose organs were taken when she was a baby, and the man who raised her dies very early on in the story, and she goes out on revenge to get her organs back from these robots that have them. And she kind of uncovers the secret of her past along the way. And it's all about, the author talks about how it's all about her rage, a pursuit of her rage. And um, so yeah, that was really good. I read the Witch Hat Atelier stuff. I thought that stuff has been really good. I have all those, all 14 volumes. Um, Only thing, what I like about the Search and Destroy thing, though, is it doesn't actually look like a regular manga. It looks more Western. And they don't do any of like the manga cheapy stuff, which I don't like. They do that a little bit in the Witch Hat Atelier book from time to time. I get it. I just don't. I've never liked it. I just think it kind of takes you out of the story. Um, we're just cute little thingies, and I'm just like it's not. Everything else is so beautifully drawn, and then there's like these moments where it's just like, why is that in the story? And I get other people like it, and that's part of why they read the stuff, but I do not like it. Um, so, yeah, so I just finished reading that stuff. That was really good. So, uh, yeah, so there's like this. It's sometimes I'm like, well, I wish it wasn't this way or that way a little bit or whatever. So yeah, um, now I'm working on I'm kind of pausing new page creation. I want to go and color and letter some pages. And then yesterday, I was actually spending the past couple days, been working, kind of updating my teaching site, and I finally went in and added in a whole series of lessons that I've had done for a while, but just didn't have the headspace to put them in. So I've been kind of putting myself in the headspace to work on that stuff, and so install those, and then put together a production list to finish off the course. But it's a whole course on kind of learning to use perspective to draw from your imagination to kind of invent spaces. And so I'm excited for that to be done. It's available for people that are subscribed on the site. What's there now? Like it's enough where you could actually like do pretty much everything, but I need to finish the final uh, examples for it, and that'll take probably a few days to record and publish to kind of get it all done. I have a whole list of things to do, but so I'm excited about that. I spent a good chunk yesterday kind of assembling all of that, trying to find all of my demo pieces. It was a project I put together for my students during the COVID era. And basically what you do is you create an isometric environment, and then you use um, general perspective tricks to draw that isometric space from different points of view. And so, oh yeah, he's really good. Force figure, right? I'd like to get that book. Uh, I think it would be an interesting one to look at. I've taught figure drawing for a very, very, very long time. It's actually on the docket of courses I want to make for the site, so I'm trying to lock in. I want to get the pitch project done, work on that. So I think I've got a lot of things to share. I've been teaching for a very, very long time, and so I kind of know what helps students. And one of my goals is to really emphasize foundations on the site in a way that makes it easier to learn and use. Um, so um, yeah, so that's kind of the project. I mean, you should have them have this project I did with students when I was at Ringling in Florida, teaching there, and it was designed to help students kind of develop their imagination and ability to visualize that. I've since found people that do something similar to a certain degree, um, like some Disney art. I've seen some Disney artists that do that, and make sure I'm not missing anything over there. But where like they'll sketch an environment. It's kind of quasi isometric, and then they so yeah, so I'm excited about that little course update over at myartprofessor.com. I'm thinking what I'm gonna do is because the next pieces I'm gonna do with these acrylic things, think about recording them as either a mini course, but I also like to put together like a larger course on acrylic. I feel like I've kind of got it all worked out and do like an illustration thing with it. Um, I've got a whole pile of things I want to do. So yeah, that's a lot of stuff I've been working on back. I showed my local comic shop the pages I've been working on, and he said you're definitely going to find a place for these. I'm like, well, that's good. So I need to get that pitch finalized. I think once the semester's out and get that out the door. Mostly just kind of getting all the lettering and coloring done for the pages I want to do, and maybe cover some more pages, and then kind of start working on the first issue. Which, by the way, if you'll comment comic, my chatbot on Instagram will collect your email address, so it gets you on the email list for that comic book launch. However, I launch, whether it's a publisher or a Kickstarted or whatever. Um, so I'm excited about that the most. But I'm kind of bringing together all the different things that I do into this into that area, taking kind of all the painting and the studies and the storytelling and things that I've learned, and I'm trying to push it all into this one project. And so yeah, I got a bunch of things kind of in the fire that I'm working on. When I got COVID, I went through and like reworked my entire portfolio website, updated the shop in there. So yeah, so I've been really busy trying to get a bunch of stuff going. Yeah, we're coming up on the end of the semester with my current students. And one of our students, not one of mine, but one of our students in our department just got a big scholarship from Society of Illustrators, which is really exciting. Um, so that's exciting to see. Um, um, so yeah, I'm very excited about my own little projects, even if nobody else is. So good morning. see. Let's see. Let's clarify our silhouettes. Good morning. Ugh. Let's see any more pink. Good morning. That feels better. And let's see. All right, let's see. All right. Yeah, so yeah, really, this is the nuancing phase, and so you kind of get all of your pieces where you want them, and then you kind of go and really articulate things. At least that's what I do. You know, people have different things they're trying to achieve, but this is like my All right, let's see. All right, we're doing good time-wise. Good morning. All right, that feels better. All right, who's next? Let's see. I don't see anybody over there. Just checking around, make sure everything's working like it should. I think it should be working. I should check just to make sure nobody's commented over there and I somehow missed it. Does happen periodically. Let's see. Oops. Just want to double check something over here. All right, nobody there. What's that game day? Is that Stefan? Are you here today? For some reason the chat isn't pulling up properly. They updated the app and it's been kind of weird ever since. See if that works. No, yeah, some things aren't working like they used to. So if I miss something, I am not ignoring anybody. I just they changed something, and I don't know what it is. It's kind of annoying. I hate it when they update things and it makes life more challenging, and you don't anticipate that. Yeah, so as far as yeah, it's not showing up over there. Maybe I need to go through and like reset up everything. One more thing, right? One more thing on the list of things to do. Copy. Yeah, so if anyone's commenting somewhere and I don't see it, it's they changed something. It's annoying. It's not there. Not there. It is showing up here. No one's there, but why isn't it showing up here? That is so weird. Cancel. I have to figure that out later today, I guess. See if I can't figure it out. Alright. Good morning. Let's see that way. Let's see. Let's see. Trying to bring some of this tonality, soften certain things back to help other things pop a little bit more. Better. Alright. Let's see. Let's get some retarder on there. Oof. How are we doing for time? Hour 14? Okay, we got lots of time. 45 minutes left. I want to continue some of this light over here. Doesn't have to continue all of it, but I should continue some of it. Just to kind of unify the picture. Yeah, I think that helps to bring that over. All right. Some of this blue over here, maybe lighter. Let's try to unify the background a little bit. Good morning. All right. Almost there. Checking out over here real quick.
Excuse me. Oof.
Alright. Trying to make sure nobody's shown up over here either. Probably just counting me. Alright. Bless me, oh, thank you. Yeah, it's, tis the season. Once in a while, enough pollen accumulates that it goes after me. It's like my dog; he likes to roll around in the grass, and sometimes that makes me a little sneezy. Come home and he's just like, "Oh, look at all the grass I rolled in." I'm like, "Thank you, Bosch. You're a good boy." You know. Alright. Alright, yeah, stream looks good too. Yesterday was a little janky, I think. Which I don't like when things get janky. But, yeah, so what I'm kind of doing here is this is my kind of working through the phase. So one of the problems you kind of run into with any artwork is you have to push through what's called the ugly phase. That was something one of my instructor was always kind of telling us about, was that you have to watch out for the ugly phase. And the idea is basically because if you haven't finished very many pictures, it's hard to kind of see where the end can be. And so a lot of times people will kind of stop earlier because they think that their painting is fresher or better at an earlier phase, and it might have been. But as soon as they kind of reach this overworking phase, which just means they've kind of lost. Usually, something's overworked just means it's lost its clarity. Not that it's actually overworked. But a lot of people kind of reach that overworked phase where things are kind of a mess, and it's kind of a lot of people don't realize you just kind of have to work through it a bunch of times, and you'll start to be able to see how your picture can be finished um, completely, even if you've kind of quote unquote overworked it. And again, overworking again is just a loss of clarity. So a lot of times when you start off on a picture, you have a lot more clarity on what's happening because you haven't done very much to it, and um, so um, but once you've kind of got enough experience, you can kind of see, oh well, I'm at this particular phase, and as long as I kind of keep working through that entire process, you'll get to the right spot. But you kind of have to do it many, many, many times in order to get there. And So, but yeah, it's kind of important to generally kind of work through that. So even like I've heard some arguments from other professors or professionals saying, well, you don't really want to polish a turd. And, that's to say, you don't want to keep working on a piece that isn't working. But I think there's, a lot of times when you're first starting out, like there's value in just kind of finishing things, even if they're not perfect, or even that good. Like you're kind of working, you're learning other things as you polish, quote unquote, polish that turd. Um, as you kind of work yourself through the illustration process or the painting process, and you kind of learn to see certain things that you wouldn't see. And if you don't finish what you're working on, if you never work through those ends, then you just kind of get good at starting things. Um, and that's a problem. I feel it with like figure drawing. So a lot of times, like students or professors, they prefer short pose figure drawing. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, etc. And then they complain that if they work longer than that, their pictures get stiff. And the problem is that they just haven't done as many finished pictures. And that's why their other stuff is stiff. It's not because a long pose has to be stiff. Um, but um, so like if you do more long pose figure drawing, you'll get better at doing them. You'll be able to bring more life to them. But if you just assume it's going to happen because your short pose ones look good, they should automatically be as strong, then that's just like a mistake in understanding how things work. Because I'll look at some artists who do these really amazing, elegant drawings that they'll spend, basic figure drawings, they'll spend 40, 50 hours on. And, but it's mostly just, that's because they do that. That's their thing. Whereas, the people that just do short posts, they only ever get good at doing that thing. And sometimes you have to like do some poor quality work to kind of get to that, to mine out the higher quality stuff. So, but yeah, so that's one of the things, a lot of, I hear from artists sometimes, they're like, well, I only like doing this one thing. And it's because, usually it's them saying they're not good at doing the other thing, which is fine. You can't be good at everything. Like, there's a lot of things that I would like to do that I just don't have time for or inclination. Like, there's a lot of, like, I like animation, but I don't have time to, like, become an animator. Um, um, so, but that's kind of some of the things that I think are sometimes get missed out on, and I'm concerned about that to a certain degree because I think, a lot of times I'll hear people comment on things and like, well, you don't need to know X or Y or Z thing. And that's just because they don't value it personally. It doesn't mean it's not valuable. So, like, art stuff like that I like that I don't have time for, stuff like learning to be really good at typography, right? So, being able to set and do type, like, I'm okay with it to a certain degree, but I'm not very good. All right, let's see. Good morning. Good morning. Ah, there. I'm just double checking. Good morning. Good for time. Oh, 20 minutes left. All right, we got lots of time. We're doing good. Yeah, I think we might be able to finish tomorrow, maybe. Looking forward to that. It's interesting, kind of pushing myself through these projects because I spent. Actually, I can check actually over here. Let's see. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So I think we're looking at 30 hours on this one. So a bit longer than other ones I've done. There's a lot more going on in here too. Like in terms of like the depth of the background and that. But uh, but I'm happy with the trajectory. Ah, now let's see what this guy is up to. But we're going to slow this down. All right. So we're kind of working our way forward through this picture. I wanted to add more atmosphere and knock some of these tonalities back. So yeah, so I'm just trying to like knock back some of these heavy transparent darks that don't need to be so dark. They're drawing too much attention to themselves. So so I got some morning chores to do after this. And then, so like mowing the lawn. I also need to swap a tire on my car, so it's a spare. I have a full size spare, so it's not a big deal. Apparently, I need to buy new wheels, and I don't want to do that yet. I have a 2006 Xterra, so that it is officially 20 years old this year, right? And so it has its original wheels on there from 2006 or whenever it got bought. It might have been bought, maybe 2005. But I guess the contact area between the wheel and the tires can corrode over time. And so in this case, it means that the tire has a slow leak. And so basically, as I can fill it up, and then by about a week later, it's pretty empty. And I don't actually even drive all that much, so it's not a big deal. But I have to like take 5 minutes to fill it back up before I go drive. Just go to the grocery store or something like that. But anyway, it would cost me at least $1,000 to replace all of my wheels because I have 5 of them. One for the full size spare that's on the back, and then the other four. And so the people at the tire place, they said, "Oh, yeah, this is going to happen to all of your wheels, your tires eventually. So all of them will start doing this leaking thing." But I'm like, well, it hasn't happened yet. So if I could put it off, a year or 6 months, that would be okay, I think. And so that's my intent there is to do that. So I need to swap that tire out. So I just need to pull I have a decent sized, what's it called? Jack, floor jack. So I can take that and lift it up and pop the other tire off and pop the old one off there and pop on the newish one there that's not leaking. And so it won't take very long to do, but I've got like a handful of chores. I need to do that. I got to lower a shelf for some plants that I'm trying to grow vertically, some house plants. And so, yeah, I got to do that. I have a shelf I need to lower that's going to be making some banging sounds and something else to do. So I've got like these 3 or 4 chores I've been saving. And hopefully work on my lesson stuff tonight or this afternoon, evening, depending on how loud it is. I need to kind of get into the vibe of that so I can finish up that course material. That's much better getting that on there. It's much better. Sometimes just like the dark's just a little too heavy, and I can kind of scumble them back by putting some translucent paint over it, and that kind of clarifies it a little bit better. But yeah, so that's what my morning plans all include, is that stuff. So all very exciting. You know, my dog is not going to like the banging. He will like going outside with me for a little bit, but and then tomorrow my mom is in town, so I'm going to go up to see she's at my sister's up north, and so I'm going to go see her. And, so those are today's big plans, and then yeah, hopefully kind of get all this stuff out of the way so I can start, folks. We got a week and a half left of classes for the semester, and then finals week when things are due, and so So that's my big plan. Hopefully everybody's good with their plans. And then, again, my plan is to kind of knock out those goals and then those chores and then get to the starting on this lesson stuff, kind of put myself in the mode for that, really knock this course out as quick as I can. I know exactly what I want to do for it. It's not, overly, it's something I've taught lots of times before, so I'm really familiar with the subject. I just have to sit down and finish the content, which I've been meaning to do for a while, like a couple of years. And then that'll also open up time and head to open up the course area so I can start launching some of these other things I've got as well. Because one of the things I'm doing a little bit differently on my teaching site is I try to treat it differently than other course websites. So most course websites, they're kind of master courses. So like I subscribe to Schoolism. I should probably stop because I kind of just go through spurts of watching stuff over there, and it's been 6 months or something since I've even like looked at the website. But they're kind of all master courses, so they'll get someone who's really good at one particular thing, and then they'll show you how to do that thing. And I guess it's probably better for sales because people get excited about that one thing. But my preference is really, and kind of my background as a teacher, is really focusing on fundamentals and structuring them together in a way that's helpful, I think. And I have classroom experience working with absolute beginners, so my courses don't just come from the thing that I'm really good at, or the one or two things that I know how to do really well. It comes from helping other students achieve their goals, and we're helping them work through challenging. Ouch, my head hurts. I think my headphones are bothering me a little bit, but yeah. So one of my things I always try to look at my course material as if I'm talking to people who have never picked up a pencil before. And so my plan with the courses, because I've also taught so many university courses, is that I kind of have a larger picture view of kind of what it takes to help young artists become more professional, and which is a bit of a different perspective than someone who is a professional and they know how they got to be a professional. But their role in life hasn't been so much to help other people do that. And I buy courses all the time. Definitely recommend you pick up a course here or there, or subscribe to places like that. But if you're someone like that hasn't had like formal instruction and isn't kind of getting at your goals, it helps to have that kind of experience where you can actually kind of see things how they work at the very base of it and how you can use things like that rather than just kind of like hopefully making it into whatever area you're trying to get into. Like I heard Marco Djurjevic, she was complaining that he runs into lots of people who apply for jobs at his studio, and a lot of them like they don't know anything about fundamentals like perspective. Like they don't even see the perspective. Like they don't understand it. And it's a really important skill, but a lot of schools lately and a lot of people, they're kind of avoiding that subject when really, if you're dealing with a challenging subject, you should really lean into that subject, because it will make a big difference for how you work ultimately. Or like anatomy, like I mentioned before, but I saw a popular YouTuber educator, and he's like, "Oh, you don't need to know anatomy. You just need to know this, this, and this other thing." And I won't say what it was. I mean, it's all like the information was good, like in terms of like things that you should know, like those fundamental things that he was showing. But he was also dead wrong about the part, and that's just because he doesn't really use it. But when like an artist achieves professional status, they've often forgotten about a lot of the things that they went through to get to where they're at, and kind of don't realize how those things influence their abilities that they have now. They kind of see it as something either they've forgotten or something they don't use directly all the time. So like if you're drawing a character, you don't, or I'm doing a figure drawing, I don't sit down like, now I am drawing the Sartorius, or now I am drawing the I don't know, calcaneus bone, or now I am drawing blah blah blah. I don't think that, and so that they kind of reach that phase where they're not thinking about that or never did, but they've kind of picked up on where those things are at, and over time, but don't recognize the fact that learning those things at different points really did actually make a big difference for their ability to draw, or just kind of working them in gradually, even if they don't know the names, but it took them 15 years or whatever to get good at a certain thing. They don't recognize that knowledge is kind of part of what they are. They just think, oh, I only need to know this superficial thing because that's what I use day to day, rather than thinking, oh, this fundamental thing, it's made a big difference for what I do today, day to day, even if I don't use it. It's like I tell my students when I'm doing a figure drawing is that the steps that I show them of the measuring and the planning and the gauging, as one of our professors calls it, um, it's not something I do when I sit down to draw necessarily. But it is something I can do, but it's also something I've done a lot. And then if I run into problems, it is a tool that I kind of lean back on if I feel like my drawing is having some kind of problem. And as a result, um, I can use that experience, that knowledge. But if I didn't have that, if I didn't like, I'm trying to look at the leg and I don't understand how the knee is doing whatever it's doing. If I just kind of try to hopefully draw what I see, I might get it right, but I also might get it wrong and not realizing I might be misunderstanding what I'm looking at. And so the anatomy, is there to help me do that. Um, Not that I use it every single time, but it's there as like a tool that I can fall back on if I'm bumping into some kind of problem. And I think sometimes people just forget that that's actually important to who they are and what they do and why. And so my core stuff is always kind of built around fundamental things. So even like in a figure drawing class, I tell students which side of the easel to stand on and how to hold their tool, all that kind of important vital stuff that really does make a big difference for how students actually draw. And but if you just kind of go in and think, well, I already know everything, or you don't need to know it. Like if you put like these borders on your knowledge, these boundaries, these shackles, it kind of gets in your way. And it's like, so I'm always learning new things personally. I don't know how they'll show up, but I like to tell students, you need to know more than you need to know because you don't know what you need to know. So, I'm always looking, like even with acrylic stuff, this is an expansion on my skill set. Like I could be doing this with oil or other medium that I'm more familiar with, but I was like, I need to just, because of my experiences last fall with acrylic, teaching it, I was like, maybe I need to like really invest some time and actually, get much better at this medium. And so that's what I have been doing this spring semester, especially in the mornings, now that kind of things have settled down. And I feel like doing this has made a difference to my skill set as a painter, and it's opened up areas of interest for me. And this little series I've done of like 4, 5, I think actually it'd be 6 paintings. This would be the 6th one. One of them is the first one I wasn't as happy with, but I learned a lot doing it. But all the other ones, I'm pretty happy with them, where they've gone, and what they're doing for me, and my plans to what I'm going to do next. I think are also also excited for. So I want to do kind of more of a proper setup on an illustration, like design it, come up with the thumbnails, the reference. And this is like a mixed reference project. Basically, I have a bunch of pose reference that I have accumulated over time from different companies that make different kinds of reference sets. And so that's where the pose come from. And then I've got some clothing reference that I've acquired, and I use that as well. And then I kind of just bring it all together into a single composition. It's not like the most compelling narrative, but it's an exploration of materials and medium, and kind of bringing together different skill sets that I've been developing over a while. Yeah, I'll pop this out a little bit better this time. So I think that's been 2 hours. I appreciate everybody that came in. I'll be back tomorrow to hopefully, I think it might take through Monday because I spent a lot of time on the background and over here. Touched up some of this stuff and down here. I touched up these cables a lot. They feel much better to me. So the next time I'll be coming in, I'll probably be spending a lot of time on the figure area, and then I might take one more session like poking around different places, or maybe I'll try to do an extra long one tomorrow or something. See if I can't close it off in a single round of painting. But I'm excited where it's going, and I can see the end coming up. So thank you for coming in, and we'll talk to you all later.